Let's take a look at a Saberforge ASP lightsaber that I'm calling the Crimson Guard lightsaber due to its custom finish here. So ASP stands for Adaptive Saber Parts, and that's this mix and match kind of modular hilt part system by Saberforge where you select the emitter, switch section, body section, and pommel, and then you get your custom lightsaber out of that. And they have some additional pieces as well, like couplers and extension pieces and sort of hilt curve pieces and other good stuff like that. So this particular hilt, I'll go through the pieces that are used to make this hilt. So I'll actually take it apart at the same time. So this emitter section is the fallen emitter, so it has that flared emitter at the top. It really gives you sort of this classic lightsaber profile to it. And the fallen lightsaber hilt is a Revan-inspired design, so inspired from one of the Revan hilts. Now the switch section, which is kind of a tongue twister there, that is a sorcerer switch section. I thought I was out of the woods there, but I couldn't pull it off the second time through. So we have, and here's just some timing shims that are on the hilt too. That's a way that you can kind of align the some of the different elements of the hilt by adding these. But anyway, those are a separate thing. So we've got the switch holes here, and then we have that kind of classic fluting. It's stadium shaped, sort of an oval shape like the Death Star corridor pattern. And then there's some additional grooves back there. Those thin grooves really kind of pull together with the thin grooves in the emitter section in that fallen emitter. You can see how the emitter section is actually quite long, and then the switch section is quite short. Now the body is just called an O2 body, 02, and this body has some additional thin grooves on the top and bottom of it, and some fluting in the grip section here. So that fluting also complements the sorcerer cutouts there, and just, is that classic sort of Star Wars-y look, stadium shaped. Stadium shape, sort of like the Death Star corridor pattern again. And then there's a cover tech wheel here. So this is in the very low part of the body that we have the cover tech wheel. And then this pommel is a pretty low profile pommel, so it is the Fury pommel. And so we have venting on the bottom and then also on the sides, and there's sort of like a little bit of a notching to this hilt. Makes it look a little like a gears, that kind of thing. So those are the four parts of this hilt. Now all of these parts combined measure 13 inches long, so pretty standard for a lightsaber hilt there. Now for the finish. So the finish of this hilt is really quite interesting. So this is a weathered finish to the hilt, but then there's also some powder coating. So it's powder coated transparent red. And just the combination of the weathering with the transparent red powder coating is really cool. So that's why I called this the Crimson Guard lightsaber. I've also kind of referred to this hilt as the hot rod too, for similar reasons. But when you have the weathering, so you can see the weathering, kind of these blackened parts. Sometimes I call this sort of like tree ring weathering of some of these Saberforge hilts, where you can just see kind of some of the color popping through. What's really nice about the transparent forms of powder coating is they kind of take the parts of the hilt that would have been silver otherwise, and they add the color to it. And so with the weathered hilt, you can just really see lots of different interesting ways the color pops through the weathered parts of the hilt. So it's kind of a neat effect, I think. Now there are still parts like in the grip section here that are just like black. But yeah, you can just really see a lot of where there was the silver and where there's kind of some of the weathering, and then you get that really bright coloring popping through. So yeah, that's kind of a neat option that you have from Saberforge there. So I think that's most of what we've got for this hilt. This has been a look at the Saberforge ASP lightsaber hilt with the fallen emitter, the sorcerer's switch, the O2 body, and the Fury pommel. And this has a weathered finish, a Saberforge weathered finish, and then also a Saberforge powder coating, and it's the transparent red powder coating. So feel free to comment below.